Hey, this is Tim with TM Media again. In this video, I wanted to talk about graphic designers and clients, and just some stuff I see that happens when working with a client. The a lot of times when a client wants to go in a direction and then the designer goes in a direction, usually it's the client's sake because they're paying your they're paying you to do what they want. But I've seen designers that really get offended when that happens, and I've seen actually design firms that will get that offended and basically some of them will cancel the project and say, hey, you know, we're beyond this or something. We're not going to work with you, which I just think is ridiculous. If there's a budget limitation or things like that and they just can't afford it, I can understand that, but just not agreeing with you or your concept or your design, well, that's totally up to them. So that's one pitfall I want to make sure some of you are avoiding. When you get down to it, the client is paying you for their work, and you have to do what they want you to do. Now, of course, your job is to come up with some creative solutions and show them options. But if they don't want any of those options, then that's up to them. As long as they're keeping you on board and they're paying you, that's really what mainly counts. I mean, yeah, of course you want to give them advice and you want to try to encourage them to go in a certain direction that you think, because you're the expert and you, as far as a visual communicator, and you think that's going to be the way to go. But sometimes it's just not going to work that way, and the client knows best, even though he may not. But you got to really treat him that way. I'll give you an example. We had an organization that we did about 3 months worth of development work on some branding for him, a logo and some other material, things like that. Now, we got up to about 2 weeks to about finish. Actually, we were finished. We just were down to the last 2 weeks of the deadline, ready to send it. It was going to be early shipment. Everything was done. And the CEO's wife, this is after dealing with about 3 or 4 different marketing directors, mind you. So after all this, after collaborating with them and going through the marketing directors and making sure they're all in agreement, liking the color, the scheme, the structure, everything, we got a call from the CEO and said his wife saw something in like an Oprah magazine of some color scheme, liked it, and she started sending us these graphics. And in fact, some of it was just clip art. And we redesigned a totally different logo. It probably took us about 3 hours to do. They loved it. That's the direction they wanted to go. I mean, this was just completely off the direction we were in. It couldn't be further from the direction we agreed upon. So they came back and said, well, we love this. And it really was probably, I would never show it in my portfolio. That's for one thing. Let me just tell you that. But it was really not a great looking logo in my mind. And as far as their concepts, their ideas, and what they were going to do with this, it was mind boggling how bad I think the approach was, and it ended up to be. Now that we look back on it, yeah, they made a lot of mistakes. So, but bottom line is, we got paid for it, and they were happy. They were ecstatic over it, and it's just something you got to deal with. It's one of those projects where you have to say, I'm going to do it, and as long as they're happy, that's it. You might not want to put it on the front of your website, but that's pretty much what you have to do. So always do what the client wants. Try to give them options. I mean, that is your job. You can't just sit back and say, well, we're going to do what you want, and just kind of cut them off either. Especially if you're at a certain design point where you're just not agreeing. You can't just sit back and say, well, what do you want to do here? Because you do still have to give them advice and stuff. And of course, repetitively, if they're not going to take your advice, if they have in their own mindset what they want to do, then just go ahead and bite the bullet and do it. But bottom line, that client is the person that has the final say. And as long as they're going to pay you in full, there should be no problems. So hope this video helped. Just keep that in mind, and I hope you enjoy it. Any comments, please list any comments. And if you have any suggestions or anything you want to know, just put those in the comments as well. I've had plenty of comments on what should I charge. I've done enough videos on that, so don't ask me that anymore. As far as schools, I don't know what else I can tell you. I've done a few videos on schools, so I'm probably going to start ignoring those questions. So any other questions or advice you want to know, just post them and I'll try to see what I can come up with and then produce another video and give you some tips. Thanks very much. Bye.